What is going on with the Rams and Matthew Stafford? We're going to break down everything you need to know today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much.
Joe, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Not a happy Thursday for Rams fans hoping to see Matthew Stafford on the field. Did you do any more of the smelling salts after the podcast yesterday?
Yeah, I did a Discord live. I do an exclusive for my Discord every Wednesday night, and we took a little sniff.
So yeah, you got hyped up on it. I had to work out last night, like 10:15. I hit it. I'm like, I gotta go.
I'm afraid of it, man. I haven't went too hard on it. It's like very casual. Like it's like I haven't really
shallow sniffs.
Shallow
imagine
sniffs.
Like George Kittle. Like
I see what these guys do
about it. Yeah, they really get in there and it wakes you up. I'll say that.
Yeah, I've got the half wake up. So
all right. Well, hopefully we don't need it throughout the course of the next 25 minutes or so, talking about Matthew Stafford. And I think this situation is very interesting for a couple of different reasons, but one of them being, this offseason, they kind of flirted with the idea of moving on, right? And they kind of had some feeler conversations for trade stuff, and it sounds like Aaron Rodgers would have been their pivot and brought him back to California, and like all that was on the table. And they ultimately come to agreement on a adjusted contract for Stafford after it wasn't like was it Kelly, his wife, was talking like when they were getting rid of Cooper Kupp, like she was saying stuff, and the whole offseason got like kind of wonky there for a while. Figure it out, smooth over, training camp opens, Stafford's got a back issue. Okay. McVay like 3 times has been like, yeah, we expect to see him back through behind closed doors, no issues, whatever. Like, and he's not participating. They had a walkthrough the other day, and he was not participating in the walkthrough. So it's kind of just, we're going to start with where the Rams at right now, how we got here. And then we're going to look at their outlook for, with and without Matthew Stafford. What's the ceiling and the floor for this football team? And then get into, what else do they have on the roster? Do they need to be looking outside the roster as an emergency backup plan? Is there somebody that makes sense from a financial standpoint to do that with? Lots to get into.
I'm on record of saying that the most significant move that happened across the NFL this offseason was the Rams keeping Matthew Stafford. And that's how much I think he matters to this operation. I think very highly of Matthew Stafford, and I love the idea of him with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua in this offensive line and how close they've been, right? And how good of a player Matthew Stafford is. And injuries have really been part of Matthew Stafford's career, almost to the point where anytime that I hear that Matthew Stafford's dealing with something, I kind of go numb. I'm like, yeah, of course, because that's always the case with Matthew Stafford, but then he plays and he's really, really good. And so I'm trying to figure this out in my own mind in terms of, is this just the next thing that's Stafford's going to deal with? And there's probably a lot of very difficult things that he deals with, but in terms of the outward appearance of him and the performance, you don't really know that it's happening. Is this the one that is finally going to keep him really at a disadvantageous spot and he can't really go? But the Rams, with their time with Matthew Stafford, like they're pretty aware of him and his body and his medicals. And they definitely made the choice to go forward with him. I think where Sean McVay has made a big mistake is putting timetables on it. And I know that We love when coaches say, hey, it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But the problem is when that doesn't happen, this is where you are. He keeps on saying Monday or whatever day is going to be the day that he can go, and then he doesn't go. And now you have to answer for that. And so I think he would have been better at saying, hey, we're taking it 1 week at a time, or we're taking it 1 day at a time, because he's putting these timelines. Yeah, he's putting timelines in place. They're not meeting them, and now you got questions. And so I think McVay, and he's actually had some quotes on that where it's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. And I think a big lesson's been learned.
Has Sean McDermott ever had that? Like for Mike McDaniel, his first year it was Byron Jones, right? And Byron Jones was coming back off of some offseason surgery, and he's like, oh, I forget what he said, but Byron Jones ended up like not playing that year at all. Like he never fully got better from the surgery that he had, and it was a lower body, like Achilles calf type thing. And ever since, Mike McDaniel, now he's got coded language of day-to-day, week-to-week, and indefinite, but like he got bit in the rear end so hard on the Byron Jones thing that he totally changed the way he talks about it in perpetuity ever since that moment. And you have to wonder for McVay, I'm sure he's put his foot in his mouth before on some injury stuff, but one like this that's so magnified, I think that's a great call out by you of like, you put a day on it, a specific day, and then it didn't happen. And now everybody every day is going to be asked if today's the day for Matthew Stafford.
Credit Sean McDermott for the reason I was able to get to this talking point, because he says that all the time, because people are very frustrated with Sean McDermott and him not putting timelines on things. And he says, well, I put a timeline on it and it doesn't happen. Now you have more questions. So he comes out and says it. Like there's this annual moment. He's like, hey, that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not saying anything more about it. And then you just have to live in wonder. So McVay and McDermott, same year, they were brought onto the respective teams, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, McVay, I think, is intensifying maybe some of the outward panic over this because of the timeline that he's put on it and how that hasn't been met.
Did you catch Aubrey Pleasant, who's the assistant head coach, his comments on Tuesday in this regard?
No.
No update on Matthew, but I will tell you it's very tough, not only for him and for the organization. I would say that he's trying his best.
All right.
So, like, if you have your fantasy draft in the next couple of weeks, like, good luck to you figuring out if you draft before Matthew Stafford comes back to practice and then, like, makes progress. Good luck with that. Because I would be petrified, and that's part of the next piece of this conversation, right, is Matthew Stafford with Puka Nacua and Davante Adams versus Jimmy Garoppolo, ? With Davante Adams, who they shared time together in Las Vegas. And that was when Davante Adams said on the timeline that he was going to get killed out there and needed to get out of town on the mic'd up. And Puka Nacua, right? Like,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think Davante Adams is sitting here thinking, looking down the barrel at seeing Jimmy Garoppolo being his quarterback after how much he enjoyed his time? And they threw cold water over that already.
Of course.
But like, respectfully, I don't believe you, right? Like Davante was so mad on that mic'd up moment on the sideline and the prospect of him playing with Jimmy. And the Rams talk a big game with Jimmy. You know, and even going back to when Stafford they were flirting with moving on from Stafford, like some of that drumbeat was Sean really likes Jimmy. So that's the kind of stuff we got to get into next.
So be sure to stick with us. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions that we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year I'm playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether it's your first ever league or a veteran that's making your millionth league. Been using Yahoo for years, and I love how smooth the draft day experience is. It's easy to set up a league. The smack talk is awesome on the message board, and the mobile app is awesome. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season right around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, you can still play in head-to-head, private leagues, or even join a public league. So stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna regret it, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. So apologies, but
Oh, good. This sounds like this is a really exciting moment for everyone involved.
Should we do one?
Oh, a Guillotine League?
Yeah, we set up the league and then like we pick a show and we like put it in the comments on the YouTube channel and say whoever signs up first for this open league, like you're in with us.
Oh, I like it for so many reasons. We should do it.
Right.
What I need to learn about with the Guillotine Leagues is what happens when a team is eliminated.
They're done.
You understood, but then does the waiver wire becomes very interesting. Like, do you suddenly have less competition? I've heard some rumblings that like that roster goes into the free agent pool and then there's like a free agent budget. That'd
be absolute chaos.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I kind of like that, but I also kind of don't like that. Like, I'd like those players just kind of be locked out, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like, okay,
now you have to be that brought you, right? Like,
well, yeah. So then it becomes just as much about how you draft, but then how you appropriately budget to build the rest of the way.
It's like a real team, right? Like free agency exists in June and July, and
it would behoove listeners to stay dialed in
on the comment section on YouTube
because we will do that at some point. Yeah,
okay, very
Yahoo Fantasy Geek.
I'm glad you were receptive to it because I threw.
It'd be weird if I didn't. It's not like you asked me to buy a game box and start a college football dynasty league.
I did that last year. Didn't go well.
All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Jimmy Garoppolo, we're kind of getting into this piece of the conversation. And I know that Jimmy Garoppolo is not a sexy name that's going to get a lot of people excited, but can we just take a deep breath and pause and realize that it's not that bad of an option? Jimmy Garoppolo is an experienced player. He's experienced in Shanahan-style offenses. Teams have been to the Super Bowl with him as the quarterback and probably should have won it. I'm not trying to overstate this, right? But nobody is really in that good of shape with their backup quarterback, especially when you have a veteran paid guy. Your opportunity to lean into Jimmy Garoppolo is reasonable. Do my expectations change? Of course, and we'll flesh that out. But I wanted to acknowledge right off the bat, while there's plenty of jokes to be made about Jimmy G, you could do a lot worse as your QB2. And to have that, I mean, honestly, to have that level of experience and been on the stages that Jimmy's been on, the different schemes and situations, like he's pretty well positioned to play reasonably. It changes the expectation for the Rams, but you could do a lot worse.
You sound like Aubrey Pleasant, who said you have a Super Bowl contending quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, who we played against and now have to practice with. I'm really impressed with everything our offensive staff caters an offense to what Jimmy can do very well, while understanding that this is still Matthew's team as we continue to move forward. I think the best thing that Jimmy has going for him here is it's in another branch of an offensive system that he had all the success that he had with. Is you consider, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo playing in San Francisco, and you knew what the pros and the cons were, and you knew, like, generally speaking, he puts uninhibited trust in the system to throw the ball where it's supposed to go based on the look and the design of the play. And that can be for better or for worse, right? It gives supreme power to the coach to dictate where the play goes based on how Jimmy plays. But then he goes to Las Vegas with Josh McDaniels, and like that was a disaster.
Agreed.
Right? So now you go back to a different branch of the West Coast Shanahan offense. And I think that that's the best thing that this Jimmy Garoppolo situation has going for it is you kind of know what you're getting for better or for worse. You know what the limitations are. And the responsibility then falls on the rest of the offense to not put too much pressure on Jimmy to carry it if he has to play.
Which I think the evolution of their rushing offense with Kyron Williams and then hopefully the idea to involve Blake Corum and or Jacars Hunter to give them more of an explosive element to their rushing offense. I think that's going to be a big part of this formula. Just like what do you expect the team to have at QB2? Like, you know what I mean?
I am uniquely qualified.
I understand that, but let's look at it through the lens of, hey, we have super high paid veteran quarterback.
I am also uniquely qualified.
I know that, but it's different. Like I guess it's really not, right? Both guys have some injury concerns.
But one of them plays through them, and that's Matthew Stafford, right? So it's because he's able to play through it, it does further mitigate how much investment you feel you should have in the backup.
Would you feel better? Let's do it. Would you feel better for the Rams if their backup quarterbacks were Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers, right? That's the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Is that better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think there's more ceiling.
Of course.
And I think there's
more floor too.
There is more floor. Well, no, I think
in the bad way. The floor goes lower.
Right. The floor is higher with what the Rams have.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting for the Rams too, from a team building perspective, that they did stock up on the extra second first round pick.
Yes.
Excuse me, as I work through Draft Dudes Do Math on ones and twos. Because my selling point on like the Zach Wilson thing, and that's kind of what the Dolphins teased when they added Zach Wilson, that like this was a deliberate target for us, and we see the talent is obvious, and we think that there's something to be tapped into amidst what you see across the league in quarterback reclamations, right?
I agree with that.
And the Rams, their hedge is not, well, former top 5 pick, physically gifted young player going into year 4 or 5 or 4 or 5, whatever it is for Zach Wilson. It's, well, we have 2 ones. We want the floor. We think we can compete right now. And we are really buying hard based on Jimmy being here last year, that like, we think we can do enough to get it done with Jimmy. And I think that I don't think we're going to go through this exercise saying, hey, what if Stafford misses the entire season? But like, I think if you look at the Rams and project the season with Jimmy, I think that conversation becomes very interesting, you know?
All right. It is interesting. Let's get really definitive with it here on the other side of it. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Maybe you have some subscriptions that you forgot you're paying for. I linked all my accounts to Monarch, and I immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. Canceling those alone saved me money every month. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL.
Hey, maybe the Rams will be the Odell Beckham team, since Odell's putting out there he's not retired and going to play, and
you can go back there, right?
Apparently has a whole bunch of teams interested in him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We're smiling for anybody who just listens to the audio version of the show. So we want to do the thing with Jimmy G Rams, knowing full well that Stafford's probably not going to miss the entire year, but I think the conversation is most interesting to project what a season outlook with Jimmy would look like for the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do the thing. Week 1, they play at home against the Houston Texans.
I hate that.
I don't like that matchup for Jimmy. So we're going to pick the Texans.
At defense,
Week 2, they're in Tennessee against the Titans and Cam Ward.
I like that.
I like that as well. Week 3, they're in Philadelphia.
I don't
There's
like
a 1 o'clock East Coast kick.
That's a weird one to sneak in at 1 o'clock in week 3, a rematch. Wasn't that the NFC Championship game? No, it was Washington. That was the divisional round. Yeah.
What is the primetime games?
It better be pretty good.
All right, so we have Detroit, Baltimore on Monday night.
That's okay. That
understandable. And then where's our Sunday night game? Obviously, Dolphins Bills is Thursday.
And you know what?
The thing Chargers Broncos in the 4:00 hour.
Yeah, and so that's the thing about the NFL scheduling. The Sunday night is Kansas City and the Giants. That's not a game anyone should care about. At the Giants, Kansas City at the Giants.
Flex it. I don't care that you can't.
Week 3. So the thing about the NFL is their number one viewership window is the 4:25 game on Sunday. So like I would expect this game back in March or May when this was made to be that 4:25 game. We're going with Dallas and Chicago.
They'll usually take the Central and Mountain Time Zone games and put them in that window. That's why, because it's in Philly.
Okay.
Rams home against the Colts.
I think you can win that game.
I think they'll win that game. Short week at home against the 49ers. I'll pick them you pick them to split?
Pick them to split.
Okay. So that has the Rams through 5 at 3-2. At Baltimore.
Hate it.
That is another 1:00 game, by the way.
Okay. They knew Stafford was going down.
I'm picking Baltimore at home against Jimmy.
Same.
Okay. Then they are international against the Jaguars.
The international pros Jack. I think the Rams can win that, right?
I think so. So that would put them at 4-3, and then they have a week 8 bye. So in the segmented world in which Stafford continues to have back issues and maybe needs the first half of the season, there's the first half of the season. You're 4-3. And I understand like draftees do math. There's still 10 games left to play, but it's week 8. Approximate, right? You come out of the bye, you play the Saints.
I like that.
I like that for Jimmy a lot. Then they got the Niners. We already said that we're going to split. So that puts them at 5-4. Their 10th game is home against Seattle.
See, I think this is one of those games where you say Stafford win, Garoppolo probably not. And even the next, I think this 2-game stretch here is where you're going to feel the difference.
Okay, so we want to say Seattle, and then they host Tampa week 12. But if we're assuming Jimmy, we're going to say both of those are losses?
At best, they split. At best. Which would be 2 tough home games to drop.
I think they'll beat the Panthers the following week.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so that would put them at 6-6 if they drop both of the Seahawks and Bucks games. With 5 left to play, they're at 6-6. Arizona.
If you tell me Stafford's a quarterback, I'm saying dub.
I would probably say split with Arizona.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. Home against the Lions week 15 with Lions having mini bye.
Lions.
Then short week in Seattle on Thursday night.
Man, that's tough. You get Detroit and then a short week into Seattle.
I'd probably pick Seattle.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And then I would pick the Rams with the extra rest going into Atlanta with Atlanta's kind of defensive questions.
I agree.
That would put the Rams with Jimmy G for a full season at 8-9.
Feels kind of right.
Yeah. Be competitive, right? I mean, it's that they've got that brutal stretch of out of the bye. They lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 out of the bye.
Yeah, I think that's the stretch. And maybe that's a really useful part of this exercise where if you're being mindful of Stafford and him being ready, understanding that maybe it's a November thing where the urgency really has to kick in because that's where
assuming the worst case scenario and Stafford doesn't get off the ground here and the build up to the start of the season. What if we said Stafford comes back after the bye? Okay, so we did 8-9 full season with Jimmy. Now we repick the games. Are we still picking San Francisco split? San Francisco's always kind of giving them fits. But then we already said Seattle and Tampa. If it was Stafford, we picked them to win both of those games.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would pick them to
win at Arizona.
Win at Arizona, at minimum.
Yeah,
and
so
now you're 11-6.
That's 3 additional wins, assuming he just played after the bye.
And if Stafford started the regular season and was good to go, I'd probably pick them to beat the Texans.
Yeah, I think you would probably find one more win in that first chunk to get to
12-5.
Yeah, so it's like an 11 or 12 win team with Stafford or an 8 or a 9 win team with Jimmy G.
Okay. Now, is there anybody out there that is worth picking the phone up for? Because you're not going to sign anybody at this point, right? Like the Browns.
Ryan Tannehill, is he retired yet?
The Browns have hoarded all of the former Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Between Tyler Huntley and Joe Flacco, right? Like, you could pick the phone up for Ryan Tannehill. That might be more interesting to me if I were the Rams than trading for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I've already forgot about Kirk Cousins and his existence, but that's going to be something that has to be resolved at some point.
Come on, man. It's their Atlanta's entire master plan was just wait till somebody gets hurt, and we'll trade him then. It's a master plan. We don't need to worry about the guaranteed extra money. We're just going to wait till somebody gets hurt.
And then they have to be willing to
send a pick and pay him $27 million, right? Like,
yeah, I don't feel good about that.
I feel you're just going to have a really expensive veteran backup quarterback. It's what's probably going to happen.
That's the world you're living in. Yeah. I don't get excited about the alternatives, Kyle. I really don't. Over Jimmy G. And again, I'm not trying to overstate Jimmy G, but he's been there this is his second year. It's time in the system. He's an experienced quarterback. Like, what do you want? I struggle to find a reasonable path for that to be better. I mean, is Baker Mayfield going to be released in the middle of the season and they can sign him for a week? I think that's very unlikely that those things will ever happen again.
Right. And they'll start on 2 days' notice and lead a fourth quarter comeback, 2-minute offense drive. Stuff of legends. It's when we should have known Baker was going to figure it out, right? Like,
or his first ever start in Cleveland, but
neither here nor there.
Boy, fumbled it.
So there you have it. There's the Stafford situation, kind of their outlook without. Obviously, hoping to see Stafford back as soon as possible. I'm sure he'll be back like tomorrow now that we did a show on it. But at least we did the content, Joe.
That's right. So welcome back, Matthew Stafford. You're welcome.
Rams. All right, welcome back. And Rams fans, you're welcome for doing this program that inevitably caused Matthew Stafford to come back exponentially more quickly than he would have if we didn't do the show. That's going to do it for us here today on the program. Kyle Crabbs, Joe Marino. Appreciate you guys as always for checking out the show. And get a great rest of your day. We'll be back again tomorrow for Takes on Takes. Joe is going to solicit them, so keep an eye out. We'll react to all of your hottest takes tomorrow for Takes on Takes to close the week.